watching the ITU event, the World Summit on the Information Society, that had a special session dedicated to addressing issues of aging in our societies.
And you was one of the judges for the hackathon and had recommended a number of mentors as part of our network for agency. And we are a global innovation ecosystem, if you will, of innovators who are looking to improve the aging journey to help us all live longer and age better.
Because I've seen you had several entries, right? I think more than 300 entries in total.
For the hackathon itself, yes, we had over 1,000 people register to participate in the hackathon. So many of them came to the hackathon by themselves, you know, just as out of curiosity and motivation to do something big to impact the world. Others came as fully intact teams, and others formed teams along the way. So it resulted in about 300 entries that were all fascinating.
Right, because then there was an award, the award where the people who had participated in the hackathon or not necessarily.
Indeed. So we had an award in each of the 4 categories. So frailty, mobility, financial security, and Alzheimer's disease. Many of the ideas did, in fact, cross several of those categories. And we, although we worked very hard to try to narrow it down to the top winners, there were so many that were worthy of mentioning that we decided to create a second category of runner-up. but really what was so important is that these teams got the visibility in front of the WSIS community and in front of the mentors who came from many different countries, because lots of different stakeholders have different motivations to moving some of these ideas forward. So we really wanted to get some of these best ideas in front of people who could really help to activate those ideas.
Wonderful. So your company also works on coaching and also helping organizations understand the digital transformation. Tell us a little bit about the work you do.
Indeed. So our company at Agency, we have 4 key pillars to help innovators. First is co-working. So we have co-working locations all around the world through the Cambridge Innovation Center, and we help people to forge community through working side by side. We do believe that proximity builds trust. And our second pillar is convening. So we produce events that feature our innovators as thought leaders in their fields. We convene audiences around some of the big trends that are happening around aging. We convene audiences around the technology that's driving a lot of those changes and are part of the solutions to help address them. And so it's a great way to showcase, both to learn and to showcase some of the very best ideas. And our third pillar is connecting. So we help to introduce innovators to each other, to stakeholders, to folks that can help them either build their company or help them test their ideas or provide proxies for customers, because it all leads to the fourth pillar, which is the most important, which is commercialize. And how do we help get more products and services out into the hands of people who need them? And so much of that involves a lot of coaching and community building along the way.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. So are we going to have a new hackathon next year? Because this was the first one, I believe, focused on aging, or not?
Indeed. So this was the first hackathon. Well, so, it's interesting, right? We're all pivoting to virtual worlds, right? So at the first WSIS forum that featured the Global Coalition on Aging, there was a little mini hackathon that was happening during the forum itself. So it was for a couple of days, and there's a way to really activate and get some of the technologists really excited about what a lot of the policymakers were talking about. So given that this WSIS conference was held virtually over the course of many weeks and months, the Global Coalition on Aging created a 3-month hackathon, which was actually a very important part of the design strategy, because it gave the teams a lot of time to shop their idea around, to meet with mentors, to noodle on different approaches to get some potential customers involved in the process, and to really mature their idea where they actually were able to showcase, some finished products, or work in process products, right? So, we're reflecting back on what would 2022 look like if we were to do this again. How do you blend the best of the in-person experience with the virtual
How
experience?
did you start working in tech?
Indeed, that's been my whole career. For instance, day one, started as a software engineer, and then I was vice president of technology and innovation at financial services company, and then moved into doing like TED Talks and things like that to showcase how to apply technology for big ideas. And so I love the work that you're doing. I feel that technology is in fact going to be the way in which we can scale some of the very best ideas and get them to all the people who need them. So I'm excited about the work that you're doing, and I love the scale at which you're operating globally. So
Yes, technology has always been the backbone of what I worked with when I worked at the UN in New York, as well as a news producer for the broadcast and for the website. Of course, I was already using Google and LinkedIn in order to arrange interviews, right? Much easier then. I don't
yeah,
imagine how they did it before. Before it was just telephone and telegraphs. It probably
right.
took 10 days to do a single interview. Now I can
Oh my
talk to
gosh.
people all over the world within 24 hours, right? We can
Yeah.
react very quickly. So, of course, technology is here to stay and has many great benefits. And from the aging perspective, and we think of aging just like, oh, this big market is a great opportunity, but it's more than that, right? I think we
Mm,
have an opportunity now to bring people because we are living longer, we are living healthier lives, at least in parts of the West, right? Of course, even the West has problems, but we are living longer and healthier lives. So we should be
yeah.
able to also be more active in the community, right? I think that's one
Right.
policy lack a policy view that's lacking in many countries is understanding that most people, when they turn 50, 55, 60, they're still in pretty good shape, right? To
Yeah.
work, and they want to be working, they don't
Right.
want to be just volunteering, or, they want to be economically independent. And so many cannot afford to retire, not to say
Right.
that, right? So, I mean,
Right.
and the pandemic is showing those cracks, right, in our policies. So I think it's great that the ITU is bringing the conversation to the table, and you had so many great events, right? Bringing also new technologies to
Indeed.
to
And
to
so,
bear.
and our, yeah, absolutely. And our philosophy is that you need to blend high tech with high touch when it comes to aging, right?
Mm,
So everybody wants the solution for one, how they want to live their life going forward. But we know that's not necessarily a way to build a sustainable business around that, right? So you need
mm,
technology to help scale some of the very best ideas and reach more people at the lowest cost, but at the highest possible quality. And so our other philosophy is that you need to design for joy. We don't
mm.
really want solutions that signal all the stigma that we've come to think about when it comes to aging, or anything that's visible sign of aging, right? People can accept that they're growing older, but they don't necessarily want to feel old, right?
Right,
or look old,
or feel
you
like
know
they are incompetent in some way, which they are not. Actually,
Indeed.
like some friends of mine said, I bought her first computer.
Yeah.
I actually taught my children how to use the internet. So come on,
Right.
you're telling me I don't get it? No, this is poorly designed stuff you make.
Right.
And that's
Right.
and, and
Exactly.
and that's when intergenerational workers are important in a technology company, right?
Yes.
Contributions from people from different generations, because you design certain things, and you then, if there's someone who is older, say, this could be done that way because, and
Right.
younger people won't realize, because when I was young, maybe I wouldn't realize certain things about aging, right? Or it's so important that we bring everybody to the room, all ages too. As we see
Absolutely.
diversity, not of only of cultural backgrounds, but of ages too.
Absolutely. And one of the first projects we did at my company was reverse mentoring. So, you always think that it's older people who are mentoring younger people who are entering into their careers. We set up a two-way mentoring process where indeed, older folks, more experienced would mentor younger executives, and the younger folks would then help older folks, become more accustomed to some of the newer technologies, but also as a way of thinking around technology. What can technology do? How can it help you connect? How can it help you coordinate and collaborate in ways that you might not have been accustomed to in as you grew your career. So yeah, I think it could work in so many different directions, and we're seeing that with housing too, right? Like, indeed, there's a place for the 55 plus environments, absolutely, and there's also something to be said for multi-generational living environments. So I think it's all available for innovators to explore and experiment with.